it's Leanne, and I'm here today with my February book haul and a giveaway. The first book that I have to show you is Our Endless Numbered Days by Claire Fuller. You will all recognise this book by now because it has had such hype on BookTube recently. It is about a little girl whose father takes her to a cabin in the middle of the woods and tells her that the world is ended. Being young and without resources, she has no way to prove or disprove this, so she believes him and they scratch out an existence there. Except that at the beginning of this book, we already know that this experience is completely over, that the protagonist in the novel is older and is thinking back on that period of her life, and that she knows that the world hasn't ended. It sounds creepy and delightful, and I've read the first couple of pages and they are beautifully written, so I am looking forward to this one. And while we're talking about hype, the next one that I have is A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. Nobody has a bad word to say about it. This year I would like to try some science fiction, and also it feels like, for having read the first couple of pages of this one, that this is definitely more literary fiction than it is sci-fi, in the same way that Kate Atkinson is more literary fiction than she is mystery and crime. So I'm really looking forward to this. This is about Rosemary Harper, who is running away from a very weird and dodgy sounding past, and she joins the crew of a small ship who get a very difficult mission. However, building this hyperspace tunnel is not without its own dangers and, well, you know, death and politics, which I find are often the same thing. The next thing that I have is Sweet Home by Carisbray. Again, loads of people talking about it on BookTube, so I am not going to go on about it. It is a short story collection all centering around the idea of home. Carisbray also wrote a song for Issy Bradley, which I started on a road trip, but unfortunately then had to stop and navigate and stuff and haven't picked it up again, but it is on my shelf. It was amazing. I will go back to it soon. As we are all aware by now, I collect different editions of the Harry Potter book. So last year, I think it was last year, I picked up this edition. This is the special slipcase edition by Bloomsbury, and I was not sure at the time whether they were going to bring out any more of these or whether they had planned to just bring out the special edition of Philosopher's Stone. And then I walked into Waterstones and I found this. This is a slipcase edition of The Chamber of Secrets. I am so delighted that they are going to be bringing out these every year. The back illustration is of gorgeous little Dobby. The book itself is bright acid green and a corresponding bookmark. The next thing that I picked up this month was this. This is When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi, I think is how you say it. This is Paul's memoir. He was a surgeon, and in his last year of residency he discovered that he had brain cancer, and in the preceding months to the palliative end-of-life care that he had, he wrote this memoir, which is his take on life and death and the meaning of both. This one has been blurbed by quite a few people that I love. It has been blurbed by Atul Gawande, who wrote Being Mortal, which is a take on how we view death and dying and elderly people and our removal from death. Been blurbed by Cheryl Strayed and Anne Patchett, although I'm not entirely sure why it's been blurbed by Nigella Lawson. I don't know that Nigella Lawson has particularly much to say about palliative care and cancer. The next book that I have is this. This is Public Library and Other Stories by Ali Smith. The reason that I have this one in hardback is because it's an exclusive Waterstone edition and it has an extra short story at the end. I find the end papers on this to be utterly charming. So as with all Ali Smith's writing, this centres around a central theme, and that theme is stories and the borrowing, the telling of stories, the sharing of stories, what stories do to us, the impact that stories have on our lives and the impact that our stories have on other people's lives. I am looking forward to. Never read any of her short stories, so it will be very interesting to dip into this one. And the last thing that I have to show you will come of no surprise if you have already seen my February wrap up, and it is this. This is Are You My Mother, a comic drama by Alison Bechdel. This is Alison Bechdel's graphic memoir of her childhood. It's the second volume. The first volume follows the story of her and her father, who was a closeted gay man whose story is told almost entirely in the things that he held back and the things that he did not say in the literature that he shared. This volume about Alison Bechdel's mother looks into her mother as a character and an actor and the different parts that her mother acted out in their life. I was excited enough about this to pick this up in a hardback as well. There seems to be a theme in this book haul. And last but not least, to the giveaway. I really should have done this at the end of my January wrap up, but I completely forgot. It slipped my mind. Any of you who watched my January wrap up will probably remember that the very first book that I read this year and the very first book that I read aloud this year was also the very first book that made me cry this year, and it is this book, My Sister Lives on the Mantelpiece by Annabel Pitcher. This is of course a World Book Night copy which I received from the lovely, lovely Claire at the Book Fox, and it needs to be passed along. I have doodled my details in it. I have read it. It has me in the pages, and now it needs to go to somebody else so that somebody else can enjoy all of the heartbreak. But hey, at least I warned you about it. Claire didn't warn me. I ended up in a snotty pile. Not that I'm bitter or anything, Claire. Love ya. So, all you have to do to win this copy is 1. Be subscribed to my channel, 2. Like this video, and 3. Leave me a comment and tell me what the first book you read this year was and what you think about it. Also, of course, if you're under 18, I'm going to have to ask your parents if it's okay if I send you a book. So keep that in mind. Really would be better if you were just over 18 and it would be much less hassle. I really don't think anybody under 18 watches my channel. Thinking about all the editing that I would probably have to do if I thought that that was the case. So that was February's book haul. I hope you enjoyed, and remember to leave a comment and stuff if you want to win this. I will leave the giveaway open until the 31st of March, and I will announce the winner very soon into April. Please tell me about anything that you bought in February and think that I would like, and also, you know, link me to your February book hauls and wrap-ups and stuff, because as always, adding books to my TBR is what I do. Bye! Oh, Harry Potter's stabby.